He built a fence on my driveway. I made him tear down his own garage. The sound of my truck door hitting the wood wasn't just a thud, it was the sound of my morning routine shattering into 1,000 jagged pieces of rage. I sat in the driver's seat of my Silverado, staring at the side mirror, watching a long, white scratch appear on the paint as I tried to squeeze out of my own vehicle. It was Monday, February 5th, 7 a.m. The air was cold, the kind of cold that makes your knuckles ache, but my blood was boiling. I pushed the door open again. Thunk. It hit a post. A brand new, pressure-treated 4x4 post that smelled of fresh pine and entitlement. I squeezed myself out of the crack, sucking my gut in until it hurt, and stepped onto the driveway. There it was. A fence. A 6-foot-tall, privacy-style cedar fence that had absolutely not been there on Friday afternoon when I parked. It ran the entire length of the property line, but it didn't just run along the line. It cut in. It sat a solid 6 inches onto the asphalt of my driveway, effectively turning my wide, comfortable parking pad into a claustrophobic chute. I stood there, rubbing the scratch on my truck door, feeling the heat rise up the back of my neck. It started as a prickle and turned into a roar. Todd, I whispered. Todd lives at 402. I live at 404. For 6 years, Todd has been the kind of neighbor who makes you consider moving to a cabin in the Yukon. He's a middle manager for a logistics company, drives a leased BMW he can't park, and treats the neighborhood covenants like a suggestion box that he's too important to read. He mows his lawn at 6 a.m. on Saturdays. He lets his dog bark at the wind until midnight. But this was physical. This was an invasion. I walked up to his front door. I didn't knock. I hammered on the wood with the side of my fist. Bang, bang, bang. I heard movement inside. The heavy oak door swung open. Todd stood there, holding a mug of coffee that said, "World's okayest golfer." He was wearing a bathrobe and that smug, punchable grin that he wore like a uniform. "Morning, neighbor," Todd chirped, taking a loud slurp. "Bit early for a visit, isn't it? Some of us are still on executive time." "The fence, Todd," I said, pointing a shaking finger toward the driveway. "What is that?" "Oh, that." He stepped out onto the porch, looking admiringly at the monstrosity. "Yeah, nice right? Western red cedar. Got a crew out here on Sunday while you were at the game. Wanted to surprise you. It really cleans up the sightlines, doesn't it?" "It's on my driveway," I said, my voice dropping to a low growl. "You drilled holes through my asphalt and put posts in my property." "Actually," Todd chuckled, shaking his head with mock pity, "I think you'll find it's my property. I checked Google Maps on Saturday morning. The satellite view clearly shows the line is about a foot over from where the curb cut is. Honestly, I did you a favor. I only took 6 inches back. I could have taken the whole foot, but I'm a generous guy." "Google Maps." I stepped closer. I could smell his cologne. It smelled like desperation and musk. "You built a permanent structure based on a satellite photo from space. Did you get a permit? Did you get a survey?" "I don't need a survey to know what I own," Todd snapped, the smile vanishing. "And I don't need a permit to secure my perimeter. That fence stays. If your truck doesn't fit, maybe you should buy a smaller car. Or learn how to park. You have 24 hours to take it down," I said. "Or I rip it out with a chain." Todd laughed. It was a wet, ugly sound. "You touched that fence, I call the cops for destruction of property. It's on my land. Possession is 9/10 of the law, pal. Now get off my porch before I file a trespassing charge. I have a Zoom call in 20 minutes. He slammed the door. The sound echoed in the morning silence. I stood there for a full minute, staring at the wood grain. I wasn't going to rip the fence out. That would be messy. That would be illegal if he was somehow right, which he wasn't, but I needed proof. I walked back to my truck. I climbed in through the passenger side because the driver's side was blocked by Todd's ego. I didn't go to work. I drove straight to the bank. I withdrew $3,000 in cash. Then I called Precision Geospatial, the most expensive, most ruthless surveying company in the county. "I need a rush job," I told the receptionist. "I have a boundary dispute. I need pins found. I need lasers. I need a map that would hold up in the Supreme Court." You see, Todd built his dream garage 2 years ago. He didn't pull a permit because he knew a guy. He built it right to the edge of what he thought was his property line. But geometry is a cruel mistress. What surveying company's agent told me next will turn his life upside down. For full video kindly follow on screen instructions.